One.
New year, same old motherfucking 10-8 round podcast. The boys are back. I am Zach from Filthy Philadelphia, joined by John Boy in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. John Boy, how were the holidays?
Good, man.
Been a minute.
We're in 2023. Let's hit the fucking ground running, man.
It is.
Let's get after it.
I can't believe we're in 2023. I haven't managed to write the date correctly yet. But here we are. It's been what, 2 weeks since we sat down and brought some content to the people? A little bit longer, even.
Yeah, man. A lot of shit has happened from then. You know, a lot of fights fell apart. Some would say not the best start to 2023, but I think it's gonna round out.
It can only go up from here.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna we got a lot to discuss tonight, so I'm gonna have to crack one open.
Yeah, you gotta be relaxed, you gotta be chill, even keel.
Ooh, that's the first Killcliff CBD of 2023 for me.
Wow.
Yeah, new year, same Killcliff. I'm feeling relaxed already.
We got a card this week.
We got fights this week.
I
heard a rumor. There's fights this week. Thank God. Did you watch any of the Rise and Bellator card?
I did not.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
Nothing.
Bellator clean swept him.
That's good for Bellator, though.
It's good for Bellator,
right?
I gotta tell you though, the chaotic monster inside of me was kind of hoping Ryzen might steal a few, make themselves relevant. Maybe we get some more fighters out of the Far East, but no. Unfortunately, Bellator went in there and handled business. But they are talking about now. Bellator is talking about doing more crossover events. I think I heard a rumor they were thinking about maybe a crossover with PFL. That could be fun.
I'd watch that.
That one I will sit down for. Ryzen, I was a little hit or miss on. Ryzen never really got the traction as a promotion that I think they wanted.
Yeah, I'm just not too familiar with the roster. I really like the star power. I don't know if it's just not there for me.
No, they were. I remember when Ryzen kind of started. Probably like 8 years ago now, and everyone was real excited for it. They were pumping tons of money into it. And then it just kind of went nowhere. I think they were pumping that Yakuza money into it like Pride was, but they never got the traction that Pride did. I think that's what they wanted to be, was the next Pride. And they're a far cry from the next Pride.
No cigar.
No cigar there. John Boy, it is January 10th. Maybe a little too late to say Happy New Year, but what are we working with for resolutions this year? Let's tell the fans.
I mean, I don't want to be corny, right? Because it's the new year and all of a sudden we're going to set some new goals. But I mean, just keep it rolling, man. Let's be consistent. Let's let 2023 be the year of the 10-8 round pod.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the 10-8 year. I can feel that in my soul. I think our fans are they're rabid. They're ready. They're ready to see the 10-8 get in a rocket ship and launch to the moon. They're coming with us, obviously. Yeah, we're going to have to I think that's the best resolution, right? Keep cranking out quality content for the millions of 10-8 maniacs.
Lock in, man.
That's it. Locked and loaded. I got two others, though, and I'm not a New Year's resolution guy, but I do have two important ones to start the year off right. Number one, I'd like for Miller's Ale House to recognize that they are our official sponsor this year. And for those of you at home, that's Miller's Ale House. If the fights are on, you better be at Miller's.
And we should have like a menu item as well. We should set that as a resolution as well.
Like a 10-8 menu item at Miller's?
I think that's when we'll know we've officially made it.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you think it would be?
Nachos of some sort. Maybe like a Supreme nachos deal.
Like, yeah, I could do that.
10-8 nachos. I mean, I fucking
10-8 bloody canvas nachos. Maybe they're coated in some spicy ass fucking salsa. I love it.
Woo.
I'm into this. Yeah, our official sponsor is going to have to get on it here. Maybe this year, maybe there's an official 10-8 round event at a Miller's Ale House. Who knows?
Unofficially, maybe.
I aim to dream big. Unofficially or officially, I aim to dream big. But really, my second resolution for the year, and this is the one that'll blow the fans' minds, I'd love for us to be in the same room for the third time ever.
Ooh, a little Sunday sit down in person.
Sunday sit down in person.
That gets the people revved up.
Get the 10-8 boys at some fights. I don't know. Fight week? I don't know. Vegas? I don't know.
You know what I think would be an awesome idea too? A little fight companion.
Okay.
Little bit
Okay.
of live action during the fights. You get tired of listening to fucking Bisping and Felder pop off.
Yeah,
Come sit down, see what the boys got to say, chime in.
I like that.
I
I
don't
like
know.
that. Yeah, if you're, if you're listening this week, if you're one of our riders, if you think maybe you want a fight companion, let us know. We'll put that together. We'll get after it. Let's do it. John Boy, I heard a rumor there's fights this weekend. Should we talk about them?
Yep, let's get into it. Originally, Imavov Gastelum.
Yup.
The boy Gastelum has staph infection.
Yup.
McGregor posted on a story that dirty boy's got to get cleaned up.
And he does.
He does. He's not wrong there. And then the boy Sean Strickland stepping in on short notice.
Sean, fight you in traffic. Strickland stepping in.
That's a more fun fight, in my opinion.
I think it's a more fun fight. I think it's always a fun fight when Sean Strickland steps in.
Agreed.
How do you I don't know, what do you want me to guess a favorite?
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna guess because it's short notice that Imavov is the favorite.
So it's not listed on the book right now.
Ooh.
Which is interesting, but I kind of like this. I kind of like a little bit of a mystery box and us guessing on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to think it's around even money, man. I think it's a good fight. 5 rounds makes it a little bit more intriguing, I think, for Strickland.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen Imavov in that position yet. Who do you like, though? If you had to pick one, a winner.
I was leaning towards Imavov, and I'll tell you why I can't get there. I'm leaning Strickland. It's that decision. It's the majority loss to Phil Hawes that just kind of makes me think maybe Strickland's got a little magic here. Maybe he's going to get it done.
He's coming off short, though, right? He just fought not too long ago.
Right.
That's always concerning for me, right? Where these guys try and rush back into action, it's never usually a good look.
Yep.
But you're right. Like, the quality of competition is definitely in Strickland's favor, right? He's fighting the top guys constantly, consistently, and he's pretty active. This is going to be Imavov's real first test, 5-round main event. I'm going to go with Strickland, just blindly looking into it. I'm going to go with Strickland, but I don't know if I love it.
I don't either, right? And Strickland's coming off 2 losses, two legit guys, let there be no doubt about it, but 2 losses all the same. And then a split victory over Jack Hermanson. That was this man's 2022.
That wasn't a split, but yeah.
It's not an all-star.
It's listed as a split, but it wasn't a split, though.
Fair. But either way, right? It's not an all-star resume because, last fight week, they're talking about Sean Strickland being next in line for a title fight. He was jawing with Israel Adesanya. Everybody was thinking this is where he ends up. I don't know that I love the call for Strickland, but in the same breath, I think if you're Sean Strickland, you got to know it's time to put pedal to the metal here. It's time to get yourself back into the posture that you were in to start 2022. He needs a big win, and I think this would be a big win for him.
I mean, back-to-back main events, right? He's coming off of a split loss to Cannonier, who's fought for the belt, right? So, I mean, back-to-back main events. He's getting in the limelight. He's entertaining because you just don't know what the fuck he's going to say.
You never know what he's going to say. You never know what he's going to do. Obviously, he's a good fighter with some heavy hands. So, interested to see it. But I think this is a little bit of a make or break for Sean Strickland. Because if he loses this one, now he's on a 3-fight skid. So, I would expect Sean to be coming out there throwing with bad intentions.
I agree with that.
Well, how do you feel about I got a soft spot for the homie Dan Ige taking on Damon Jackson. How do you feel about this one?
That's a good fight.
That's a good fight.
That's a real good fight.
Yeah.
I do have the odds for this one. Who do you think Vegas likes here?
I think Vegas likes Damon Jackson here.
Okay, they like Ige.
Okay.
Not by much. It's slight. Damon Jackson's even. Ige is a slight favorite at -120. Over 2.5 is -210. So they think it's going to go to decision. I could see that. I could also see somebody getting slept in this spot. Damn, that's a good fight, man.
It is.
That's a really good fight. I think that could be a low-key fight of the night option. I'm gonna lean with Dan Ige here.
This is another one. This is another guy who finds himself in a similar position to Sean Strickland, right? Dan Ige was a guy who was always kind of hanging in the middle, would beat some legit guys, would lose to, only legit guys. But now, I mean, you look at his last 6 fights or last 5 fights, 4 were losses, right? He lost to Calvin Cater, beat Gavin Tucker, lost to Chang Sung Young, lost to Josh Emmett, lost to Mavsar Evalayev. Not going to take anything away.
Killer. Fucking
All,
killers, though.
all legit losses, right? I mean, that's a murderer's row that Dan Ige fought, and that's because Dan Ige is who he is. He'll fight whoever. I mean, this guy, has a win over Edson Barbosa, right? Like, he's down to scrap. But if this becomes 5 losses in his last 6 fights, what's the UFC going to do with him?
Yeah, it's a put up or shut up position. But I mean, more often than not, when fighters get backed into a corner, they respond. You know what I mean? I feel like you said, all the pressure in the world is on this guy. This isn't like an early fill-in replacement or something. He's probably had a long ass camp.
Yep.
They're game planning for this. He's got the tools to do it. Jackson's a little bit raw, good pressure, like overwhelming pressure. But I mean, to a certain level, you can kind of extinguish that. And I think Ige has the tools. I agree with him being a slight favorite here. It's going to be a really good fight, though.
Yeah, I can't argue it. Number one, always been a fan of 50K Ige. Always liked watching him fight. This is another guy, when we say they'll fight for your money, Dan Ige's got to be on the top of those lists. He will always scrap for your money. And Damon Jackson was the guy who derailed Pat Sabatini. So that's a personal beef that I have with him. So I'm riding with 50K all day.
Yeah, we can double up on that. I'll ride that with you.
Yeah. So what do we got after that? We got Punale Soriano taking on Roman Kopylov.
Anytime Soriano's in that ring, that first round and a half, first 7 minutes or so, he is as volatile as anybody. That boy can crack.
Yeah.
Crack. He's got some serious power. Starts to fade a little bit late.
Yeah.
Kopylov's a good fighter. This is another banger. These are low-key bangers. Not a ton of name value yet, but I think some blood is going to be shed in this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think, we could kind of say that about the whole card, right? This isn't maybe a showstopper of a card, but I think you'll get your money's worth watching this one on ESPN Plus. I think you'll enjoy your evening.
Yeah, it's like a little appetizer to start the year off, right?
Exactly. No shame in that game. This is a little pigs in a blankie, a little mozzarella stick, maybe a little jalapeno popper in there. And this fight sums that up perfectly, right? Kopylov, very exciting. His 2 losses are to Carl Roberson and Albert Duraev. Punale Soriano, like you said, fast starter. Former LFA guy, came in on the Contender Series with a win over Jamie Pickett. I think it's just going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm leaning Soriano, though.
You'd be right. Minus 150.
Yeah.
Kopylov plus 130. I mean, these are tight lines.
They are.
Which is good. I mean, there's more variables in it then. You don't know who's going to win. You don't know who's going to come out on top. But I'm going to agree with you here. I think Soriano might surprise some people. He's just got to get it done early.
Yeah.
Right? Under 2.5 is minus 140.
Yeah.
Okay. So
get it done.
Vegas thinks this is going to get done inside 2.5. I could see that as well, because if Soriano doesn't get it done early, Kopylov could overwhelm him. Right. But 10-8 pick, Soriano, early second round KO.
Let's say it. I love to say it. Let's see how our radar is doing this year.
All our shots.
Still dialed in. You want to talk about old Rocky Pennington taking on Ketlin Vieira?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know what I mean?
What are you gonna do? Got to talk about it.
Ugh.
I know.
I guess if we have to.
I'm gonna guess Vieira's the favorite.
Minus 120, even. Like, here we go again. Flip a
Yeah,
coin. This
another
is gonna
fun fight.
this is gonna be, roll out the sleeping bags.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a split decision.
yeah,
Just hope that they flip the coin in the back your way.
yeah. That's
Over 2.5 is minus 365. It's like a shoe in for it to go to the decision.
yeah. Between these two fighters, they have 16 decision wins between the two of them. Of the combined 27 wins, 16 were decisions. So I think we all know this probably isn't going to be a showstopper. This is going to be a little bit of tag you're it for 3 rounds. I think that's just what you're settling in for.
I mean, if I have to make a decision, gun to my head,
On your
just
head.
just shoot me.
Fair.
You know what I
That's it.
mean?
Yeah. You're locked in a room with Raquel Pennington, Ketlin Vieira, and yourself, and a gun with 2 bullets. You just shoot yourself twice.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Without
if you're pulled up to Miller's, if you're bellied up at the bar, maybe tell the bartender, crack me open a Yingling. I'm gonna go rock a squeege. I'll be back. Take your time,
bingo.
you know. Go thank the hostess for the primo position she put you in. See if there's any other 10-8 fans in the bar. Do a lap. Come back. You'll be ready. You'll be ready for a better fight.
I mean, we're degenerates, right? Like, we want violence. It is what it is. If
What it
Vegas
is.
has the over. If Vegas has any fight over minus 300 over 2.5, honestly, I'm probably not that interested.
Yeah.
It's a good indicator, right? It's a good way to figure out, is somebody going out on the canvas? This one, I'll bet all my money is that it goes to decision.
Yeah. Of the 10 combined losses that these women have, 7 were decisions.
Yeah.
So these women have been combined involved in 23 decisions in their careers. Probably not going to be a showstopper, but who the hell knows? Either way, before that, you'll have a great fight to watch with Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Ronnie Barcelos.
Yeah, this is the main event in my eyes. Ceiling is high for both of these guys. I'm not sure why this is buried this low on the card.
Right.
If not the main event, at least make it the co-main. Cousin Umar, right? This is their Nurmagomedov bloodline. This is a real deal fighter. But man, Barcelos is a fucking dog. This is a really, really good fight. This is going to be kind of a litmus test for Umar.
Yeah.
The odds surprised the shit out of me.
I have to imagine that Umar is the favorite.
Minus 750.
Wow, he's a big favorite.
I mean, if you told me Barcelos was a plus 400 dog in any fight, it might be just like an auto bet where it's like, oh, the other guy could slip up or something like that. Barcelos is one of those guys that's going to fight for your money, man. But, a lot of people in the Nurmagomedov camp say that this guy's going to be a future champ down the line. This is definitely one of the UFC's biggest up-and-coming prospects.
Yeah.
Good ass fight. I'm going to go Barcelos here.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm going to go Barcelos at plus 400. Just because I think this is going to be Umar's toughest test. I mean, he could make me look like a fucking idiot, right? He could get this done real quickly, and we'd be like, "What the hell was that, John?" But I'm not ready to mail it in on Barcelos. I think he's got a little bit more left in the tank, so we'll see.
I'm leaning towards Umar because of that Victor Henry and that Timur Valiev loss. To me, and no disagreement, Barcelos is a dog. He's a tough fighter, but
there's levels.
There's levels to this shit, and I think that Umar Nurmagomedov is of a high level. He is a high caliber fighter.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's going to be a future champion, but I think he's going to get through Ronnie Barcelos.
Yeah, sure. And it's I understand where you're coming from, right? Going off, you're nitpicking the Barcelos losses, good fighters, but it's like Umar really hasn't fought anybody that caliber. But I mean, his camp, right? He's probably in the best camp in the world, for being honest. Those Dagestani mountains just raise you right. So I get it. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason he's minus 750. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
Tune
Umar
in for it. Tune
Magomedov
in for it. It's going to be a good one.
he does have a win over a former jiu-jitsu instructor of mine, Sidmar Onario, aka Sadeko. Beat him in PFL. So I don't want to root for Umar here. I don't want to like him. I don't want to think he's going to win this fight, but I do.
Is that his best dub?
I wouldn't say it's his best of necessarily. But I mean that's a Henzo Gracie dude he beat. Granted, it was a PFL, but it was a Henzo guy that he beat. Um, I mean, not to say that the win over Brian Kelleher maybe stands for much, except that he dispatched Brian Kelleher in round one, right?
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, that's
the guy's got submissions for days, obviously, as most of the Dagestani fighters do. I mean, just look at his last name. What was the stat you were giving me? If you have a Magomedov in your name, you have like a 90% success rate in an MMA cage.
yeah.
It's
And I
it's
mean, this line would insinuate that as well.
yeah. Yeah,
So
if for no other reason than the curse of the Magomedov in your name, I think Umar is going to get this done.
yeah,
What what else you want to talk about on this card? What else speaks to you?
I'm a big Javid Basharat fan. He's on
Taking
this
on taking on Mateus?
Mateus Mendonca. I believe this is going to be his UFC debut. I've seen Basharat a couple times fight. He's really, really well rounded. I really enjoy watching him fight. Super crisp, super fucking technical. I don't know enough about Mateus, but in my opinion, Basharat is somebody to watch in 2023. Super confident guy, strung together some nice wins. He's sitting at like a minus 350 favorite. A guy to watch, I think, coming up for the 2023 year for sure.
Yeah, this will be a good one. This is two guys putting perfect records on the line. Obviously, Mendoka is a Dana White Contender Series winner. He got a first round knockout over Ashik Ajim back in September of last year. So two guys putting their goose eggs on the line. That's a fun one. Mendoka is really well rounded. He's got a lot of submission victories. He's got a lot of knockout victories. So this could just be a good fight. I think more than anything.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think Basharat, the snow leopard, I think he brings a lot to the table. So I think this could be a really good victory for him. Take that goose egg from somebody and maybe look to him to do some big things in 2023. I agree.
As I'm scrolling down it and looking through it, Ciara Eubanks, Priscilla Kohara.
The curtain jerker of the evening.
Oh yeah. It the line sticks out to me here. All right.
Let me say this as a disclaimer.
Yeah,
Anytime Sajara Eubanks is fighting, anytime, I am rooting for the other person.
that's fair.
I do not like Sajara Eubanks. Just
And
not a
in
fan.
and in this particular case, I would have to agree with you. She's a minus 250 favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing you didn't ask me to guess on that one because I would have guessed the woman with a 12-4 record would have been at least a close line with the woman with a 7-7 record.
Ciara Eubanks shouldn't be minus 250 against anybody. You just don't know what you're going to get. Not to mention she falls off of a cliff after round one.
Right.
She does have a path to victory. It would be wrestling. But if she can't catch her with a takedown early and this stays on the feet, Priscilla is live as you can be as an underdog, in my opinion. That jumps out to me as I scroll down this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my official dog of the card.
Could not agree more. Her last fight against Ariane Lipitsky, first round knockout. She has a win over Ji Yoon Kim. And then her losses, by and large, her losses are to a lot of legit fighters. She hasn't lost to Jillian Robertson, but she's also got a loss to Valentina Shevchenko, Molly McCann.
Shevchenko almost murdered her.
Well, Shevchenko fucking choked her in the second round. So
after hitting
after
her with like 200 unanswered strikes on the ground.
in a row. That being said, I still don't think she should be this heavy of a dog against Sajara Eubanks.
No, I think when you take that type of beating, it's a fucking eye-opening thing, and she's responded really well, right? Jillian Robertson's a grappler, so she's going
Yep.
to wrestle. That was kind of her avenue to victory. And Eubanks isn't really a grappler. She's just kind of like well-rounded, where
Yeah.
she can mix it in. If Priscilla's corner, if her camp has any wherewithal, and she can defend takedowns, I think she could easily get the dub in this fight.
I
Easily.
agree. I agree. And what's telling about Sajara Eubanks' record, right? She's got some wrestling, has 0 submission victories. So all you have to do is avoid the takedown, right? You don't have to worry about bottom game. You don't have to worry about, getting caught with a weird leg lock. I don't think, I think Sarge is, she's going to wrestle and then lay and prey on you, sure. But I don't think she's got really much in the grappling department. So I think this is Priscilla's fight to lose. I agree with you. I think that's a hell of a dog card.
One thing I will say is wait till weigh-ins, because I do notice that this fight's at 125 pounds. And I would say it's probably a 50-50 shot Eubanks misses weight.
Yeah, how many? And that's honestly that's when I was done with Sajara Eubanks. Was a couple of years ago. She missed weight on a fight and then was just, I thought,
And she missed at 135 as well. This is
yeah,
at 125. So
yeah, and she was just a total jerk off about missing weight. So I've just been kind of out on Eubanks ever since. No love here on the 10-8 pod for Sajara Eubanks.
I'm
But
down for that fade 100%.
yeah, absolutely. Sajara Eubanks, I think, is from kind of close to where you are from, isn't she?
She might be. I know she's in a Long Island. She was with the camp with her main training partner is the most boring fighter in UFC history.
Chikagian?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know she trained with Chikagian.
main training partners, Caitlin Chukagian. Yes.
Yeah, she's from Brick, New Jersey, which I think
Yep.
is North Jersey, right? That's your
Yep.
neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. She's a Jersey gal.
Yeah, she's a Jersey gal, all right. How weird is it to you that Charles Johnson is this low on the card? I mean, I know he's fighting Jimmy Flick, who's coming out of retirement, but that's just strange to have that be the second fight of the night.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really done anything in terms of like UFC, right? He was like an LFA champion,
Yeah.
and then he fought what's his name? The young gun, Russian,
Well, he's fought, I think, 2 Russians. He fought Muhammad Makayev.
Makayev, who just blew his shoulder out. He
Yeah.
had a lot of hype. Then they had a matchup with Charles Johnson, and it was a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it was a UD, but it was a good fight.
yeah, it was an entertaining bout. Jimmy Flick retired, and
Yeah.
then now he's coming back, which is never, incentive wise, it's never really a good look.
No.
You have an idea who the favorite is here?
I have to imagine it's Charles Johnson.
And a pretty big one at that, minus 345. Jimmy Flick plus 260. I have no interest in watching it, and I have no interest in betting it.
I'll watch it to see how Johnson does. I mean, he is coming off of a win over Zaglis Zumagulov.
He just got cut, but yeah.
Zuma. I'm glad I got cut. Zumagulov.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he's coming off a win, LFA champion. Be interested to see what he does in the UFC. But yeah, I don't know that coming back to fight is the move for Jimmy Flick necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much else on the card. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is fighting. He's like a catch a lightning in a bottle type guy where he can knock anybody out on any given day. But if it gets outside of 5 minutes, he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
You're right. It looks like he's walking in quicksand when he gets into that second round. That's like a live bet, right? He'll win the first round. That's what I would do. I would wait for him to win that first round and then just Claudio Ribeiro the whole way.
Yeah, I mean his 5 losses, 4 were to decisions, right? Because he just if he doesn't get you out of there early, he's probably gonna gas, which is odd for a guy whose nickname is Judo Thunder. You would expect the judo guy to kind of have a gas tank, but yeah, no, if he doesn't crush you in the first, I mean,
yeah, and I feel like it's like not in his best interest to engage in grappling and use the judo.
yeah.
It's odd because when he does get into grappling exchanges, he just absolutely just tires out.
You know what's weird about these 2 guys, Claudio Ribeiro and Abdul Razak Al Hassan?
What's that?
both of them in their victories have 100% knockout rate or TKO rate.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the under 1.5 is minus 220. So that's a pretty good indicator
Yeah,
of somebody getting their lights shut off. I kind of like over 1.5. I think these guys might respect each other, right? Where they just like a staring contest for the first 5 minutes.
could be.
I I kind of am leaning that way.
It'd be a fun prop bet.
Yeah. I kind of like the over 1.5 at plus 180. There's a little bit of juice there for you.
Yeah, I
Might
think
have
that's
to
pretty good.
clench the old butt cheeks every time they for an exchange, but
Yeah, it's going to be an uncomfortable 5 minutes.
yeah,
7 minutes,
exactly.
rather. Yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable for 7 minutes.
Yep.
But could be a decent prop bet. All in all, what can you say about this card? Fights are back on Saturday night. All was right with the world. Thank God. Bless up. That's it. We'll be watching because that's just what we do.
It's a little hors d'oeuvre for the UFC 283 pay-per-view that we got.
That's it. Here you go. Here's a little spinach artichoke dip for you. Get in there. Don't fill up though. Don't fill up on bread.
Exactly.
The next 11 weeks, we got 10 fight cards. Don't fill up on the bread basket. That's tempting. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
Gets me every time.
Don't do it. Stay away from those carbs, boys. We got a lot of work to do this year.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of a lot of work to do you want to try to unravel the last 2.5 weeks of clusterfuck that was the world of mixed martial arts? Should we try to do this?
A lot of drama, right?
A lot of drama. We got to keep the fans engaged.
A lot of drinks flowing.
Oof, I might need another. Hang on. Let me calm myself. All right, so riddle me this.
What's
First
up?
question out of the gate. Have you donated to the Top G bail fund yet?
Not at this moment in time. I'm waiting for a little bit more information to come out. How about you? I know that you did.
Oh, yeah, my life savings right over there to
Yeah.
Romania to defend alleged human trafficker Andrew Tate. Got to do it.
Yeah,
Got to do it.
that sounds like a money well spent.
So for anybody who was just, kind of enjoying the holidays with their family, maybe you shut the socials off to enjoy some family time. Don't worry, John and I did not take that healthy route. We stayed plugged in, and we watched a internet feud. These are all words I did not think I'd ever string together at one time. We watched an internet feud go down between Top G, Andrew Tate, and Greta Thunberg, climate activist. During that feud, Andrew Tate posted a video, and in that video, he showed a pizza box, which apparently led Romanian authorities to be able to zero in on his location, which allowed them to
I don't know. I'm calling bullshit on that, but
I'm not going to call bullshit on that one.
on the pizza box,
yeah.
get the fuck out of here. You think the FBI is waiting around on fucking YouTube and they see a pizza box and they're like, we got him?
You know why the FBI has a top 10 most wanted list?
Get the hell out of here.
They don't know where motherfuckers are. They can't find them. Right? Knowledge that somebody's in America doesn't tell you what state they're in. At this point, I'm not calling bullshit that they use that. I mean, I think that was just a stroke of fucking stupidity on his part. I really do. I mean, if there's an arrest warrant out for you, even if they're not using it, why would you ever post something that has your fucking location on it? Anywho, that allowed Romanian authorities to zero in on his location, effectuate an arrest warrant for human trafficking charges. They've added on additional charges. I think that he and his brother were fixing soccer matches.
I'm not sure.
And that's where we're in a standstill.
He was a former world champion kickboxer, so this is why this falls in the realm of MMA guys. I know that you think we're just trying to show off our range, which we're very capable of, clearly.
We are.
But yeah, man. Former world champion
kickboxer TKO'd by a 19-year-old climate activist. I didn't think that's how we were going to start the year.
Jesus Christ, brutal.
Really didn't. I know you're a Top G guy. I know you're going to donate to the Legal Defense Fund. I don't know how the justice system in Romania works. I'll have to do a little research, find out what his pretrial rights are. But here we are. This is it. It's interesting now to see, because Middle G had gotten himself quite a few fans amongst UFC fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting now to see who has kind of backed off from the fandom and stayed quiet, and who has kind of full on red pilled themselves and just gone on to post support for Top G to say that this is a globalist conspiracy to get him. Um, and no matter what happens, I think we all lose on this news. I don't see a win here. I really don't. But that's the news. It happened. It existed. It's out there.
To be determined, I guess.
TBD. I guess we're gonna have to leave it TBD. I don't know. Top G is fighting for his life in Romania. And the only thing that I think really beneficial has come out of any of this is the guy on Instagram who goes by Bottom G, who is a very
You can tell us if it's you.
it's not me. First of all, this mop right here, I could never pose as Bottom G. No, Bottom G is a dancer, like a theatrical
Oh, yeah, I've seen these.
who looks just like Andrew Tate and has really bit down on that. And the content he's been putting out is funny. Posted a video of himself emerging from the ocean and then dancing on the beach and put hashtag free bottom G. It was pretty funny. Give the guy credit. He's having his moment on this one.
All right. What do we got next?
I don't know. You want to talk about how the NY badass Philip Baroni is now facing murder charges in Mexico? Let's get the easy stuff out of the way because we got some hard stuff coming.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, is the murder of your girlfriend easy stuff? I don't know.
I don't know that it's easy stuff, except that I don't know how much more we have to say about it, except that it happened.
We went over this a little bit pre-pod. I'm not super familiar with Phil Baroni. I think he's a little bit before my time.
Yes.
The first time I got word of him was when he was one of those guys that was throwing his name into the ring to fight Jake Paul. We're going back like Astron times, begging for a paycheck type deal. That was honestly the first time I heard of him. Maybe trying to fight BKFC as well.
Yep.
Usually if you're throwing your hat in the ring for both of those, you're usually down bad in a bound spot. And clearly that seemed to be the case with Mr. Philip Baroni here.
Yeah, so for those of you who have been MMA fans for a long time, I wouldn't go as far as to call Phil Baroni a pioneer of the game, but he had a fairly good stint in the UFC back in the early Zuffa days. He washed out of the UFC, was a professional wrestler for a little while. Why he's most well known now, probably though, is he was kind of the original Sean Strickland on Twitter, right? He was one of the like Jake Shield, Sean Strickland. Like, I have no idea what this human being is going to type next, but I know it's going to be insane. It led to shout out to one of my favorite MMA podcasts, the co-main event, dubbed him the poet Philip Baroni for the absolute insanity that man put on the internet. Yeah, and really, I'm only bringing it up and spending as much time on it as I am is because he's from the town next to me. He's like 10, 15 years older than I am, but grew up very close to where I did. And I wanted our fans to know I did not intentionally wear a Strong Island shirt tonight in support of Philip Baroni. This is in support of Looney Tunes Records in West Babylon. I am not supporting alleged murderer Philip Baroni, who apparently beat his girlfriend to death in a motel in Mexico. I hope the Mexican justice system works its way through there and that we never have to hear about this again. This is not in support of Philip Baroni. That is my disclaimer. It needed to be said. I felt like I needed to get a 10-8 disclaimer on that one. You want to talk about Jake Paul signing with PFL? That's a little bit more exciting news.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. Jake Paul's starting to grow on me a little bit.
Go on.
He signed on the dotted line. I'll believe it when I see it, right? He's got to step in the cage for me to fully get there. But the fact that he signed a 6-fight deal.
Yeah.
And I believe he put out an offer to box Nate Diaz and then an MMA fight afterwards. I think he beats the brakes off of Nate in a boxing match, if we're being completely honest. He still has a knack for calling out guys that are like 30, 40 pounds less than he is, which is never great. If he steps in the ring with him, though, or the cage, sorry, I'd tune in. At least he's putting it on the line. You know what I mean? He's not all bullshit. So we'll see. What, you're not a team Paul guy?
No, no, I'm not at all a team Paul guy. I will
Okay.
agree with you though that it is interesting to see him signing with a legitimate promotion, right? PFL's a legit MMA promotion. I don't know much about boxing, but it seems like whoever the fuck wants to can put on boxing matches and there's never really any like repercussions. It's just like a boxing match exists and I never know are the weights, are the odds, are the, is this a mismatch? I don't,
No
so
one gets paid for the event, and
right.
it's like a bunch of shit. Yeah, no, I know.
That's just boxing doing boxing stuff, right? And that's
Of
why
course.
Jake Paul has consistently fought dudes who are like 70 pounds less than him.
Hmm.
Uh, but in this instance, you're right. I mean, he signed on the dotted line with PFL. He offered a 2-fight deal to Nate Diaz. Again, kind of suspect. I think he's picking somebody he thinks he can beat. I think he might be surprised, though. Nate's got slick hands and he's a tough motherfucker to stop. Nate just keeps going forward. That being said, Nate's boxing was always in an octagon, right? There was always a threat of a takedown. There was always a threat of jujitsu. Does he hold on to those boxing chops while not having any of his other weapons available? I don't know.
See, this would be my take, right, from a boxing standpoint. Like Nate's bread and butter is overwhelming you with volume, right? He wants to drag you into deep, deep water, and he wants to go to a really dark place where he doesn't think you can match it. And boxing, what are you going to do? 8 2-minute rounds? It's just not enough time for him to drag you into that type of water. He's what, 36, 37 years old. The
It's not.
speed is not there. I mean, he just had like, I don't want to say a closely contested fight with Tony Ferguson, but it didn't look like they were too, there wasn't a massive skill gap there. I just think
They weren't two young lions. Let's put it that way.
no, and I just think, Jake Paul's team is not stupid, right? They're going to ride the money train. They don't want this thing to go off the rails just yet. So they're picking a good matchup for him.
What do you think happens in their MMA fight?
I don't know if I want to see them in an MMA fight. It scares me a little bit
On whose behalf?
for Nate.
I don't know. I think that Caesar Gracie black belt probably carries Nate through an MMA fight.
The reason I say that is just Nate is going to stand with you in the cage, right? Like
Sure.
he's not a takedown guy. He could fall into the trap where it's like that's kind of going to be Jake Paul's game plan is to just keep it on the feed, stay to the outside, and just be the quicker guy. I mean, if it's a five round fight main event, I don't think PFL even does that.
I don't know if they do or not. I don't know enough about PFL.
That would change things drastically.
I'll
Uh,
tell you this, it's War Diaz whenever a Diaz brother is fighting for me. So that's easy, right? We know that off the bat. Um, but I don't know. This could be tempting for Nate because Nate could secure a bag on this one. 2-fight deal with Jake Paul. If he can keep that boxing match close, even if he loses it, he could be securing a bag by the time they get an MMA fight. Because the amount of people who want to see Jake Paul lose a fight is growing by the day.
and Nate's the type of guy who can take an L and it not really hurt his image.
He's the only dude whose stock goes up if he loses. He
Literally.
lost to Leon Edwards handily, but because he stumbled Leon Edwards, stock went through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the beautiful paradox of the Diaz brothers. They can lose a fight and come out doing better than they were beforehand. And God bless them for it. I don't know. It might be the thing that gets me to watch a little bit more PFL this year. I kind of was just kind of spot checking PFL last year. But
That's
they
big.
they do put on some good fights. I got to give PFL credit. They're a promotion that I would like to watch more of this year.
Yeah, and the Jake Paul news is only going to help it. It could be for the wrong reasons, but it's going to put it in the limelight for sure.
Can't hurt. It can't hurt for sure.
No.
Let's mention this briefly and then never again. Surprise, surprise. Dylan Dennis pulled out of his fight with KSI. Cross that off the list. Anything to add?
I'm good on that.
I'm not surprised, motherfucker. Tatiana Suarez coming back to flyweight. That's good news for the year.
Yeah, I love to see some fresh blood. I mean, she's not really fresh, right? Because she's fought in the UFC before, but she went away for a while. She had a neck injury that had her sidelined for a while, but a super good prospect. Good to see her back.
Yeah.
She's a legitimate contender at 125 pounds. We've seen her go through a little bit of trials and tribulations when she can't get the takedown at will, but I think it's good for the flyweight division in general that she's back, and I'm looking forward to seeing her fight. I believe they said in March
Yeah, I think they're saying March for her
will be
return.
her return fight, so that's cool. I like
Yeah,
that. Love that.
love it. Love to see Tatiana Suarez back. Um, who
Aljo, we talking Aljo?
who's Leon Edwards going to fight? Answer me that. Who's he going to fight? Call it.
Hmm. Shit.
Right?
Fuck, man.
If it's not Kamaru Usman, I can't support it. It should
Hamzat.
be. You think he's going to fight Hamzat?
If you say call it, yeah. I think that Usman's going to be sidelined too long with the bicep. The Masvidal fight, if that happens, that's just
Well, that's the rumor, right?
integrity is out the fucking window.
Here's my problem. And for those that haven't heard yet, the rumor is that Leon Edwards is going to fight Jorge Masvidal because of some weird beef they had back in the day in a fight that never emerged. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think Masvidal deserves a title shot. And my big takeaway here for that one is, and I said this off the air, I don't mind a good MMA storyline. I don't mind when there's bad blood. I don't mind if that bad blood leads to big fights. What I don't like, and what I think the UFC does too often, is they try to make the fight match the storyline and not the storyline match the fight. Right? Masvidal and Edwards might have a great storyline, and that storyline might, from a WWF perspective, sell some pay-per-views. But Jorge Masvidal should not be fighting for the title. Too
Yeah, I
many
mean,
people in front of him, too many people who are deserving of this title fight. It shouldn't be him. So I don't care how good your storyline is. It doesn't match up with the fight.
yeah. I get it, right? The moniker, the three-piece in a soda, that was all derived from Leon Edwards
Yep.
and Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal, I believe he knocked out Darren Till on that card. And Leon was also on the same card backstage. They got into a little bit. So there is a beef there. We've talked about this all the time, right? It's follow the money. Bottom dollar, this might be the biggest fight they could make in terms of interest, right? Just name value alone, Masvidal is probably the biggest draw. Love it or not, at 185 pounds, or sorry, 170 pounds. So it's like, oh, I could see it happening. It's one of those things where I would not be surprised.
Maybe
Unfortunately.
not surprised, but I'll be disappointed. I'll say
Agreed.
that. Be disappointed. And I mean, I don't know how much more Masvidal has left in the tank, period, let alone for a title run. I mean,
It's a decent matchup for him.
yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't love the matchup. I don't love the fact that he's going to jump the line here. I think there's just too many people who are deserving of a title fight. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it should be Usman, but I recognize there's injuries here at foot.
If Usman can't go, who do you think deserves it?
Colby.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
Usman had two fights with Colby, one of which was stopped, and there was an argument that Colby, was close to a head on the cards, and then they have a decision. How is it not Colby?
Kobe absolutely rinses Leon too.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely does.
That would really fuck shit up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, truthfully, I think Usman is a better fighter than Covington, but Covington, I think, is a more do more with it fighter, right? Like Usman will ragdoll you, he'll take you down, absolutely. But I think Colby is going to be a little bit more dogged in chasing down Edwards, and I think Edwards will get overwhelmed by Colby in 3 to 4 rounds.
Kobe's going to stick to the game plan, right? He's not going to fall in love with his hands. He's going to stick to what gets the job done. That's who he is. I don't know. I feel like Hamzat, there'd be a lot of leverage. If you sneak Hamzat in there, it's a super winnable fight. He's kind of been on the low with Stardom just because of the weight issues in his last one. I could see Hamzat sneaking in there.
I got it, and I'm going to call it for you right now. I got it, and I'm going to call it for you right now.
Let's hear it.
International Fight Week, headliner, Colby Covington, Leon Edwards. We're right around 4th of July, America versus England. You know, Mr. MAGA hat Colby Covington is going to bite on that storyline and run with it and make it unnecessarily personal, probably insult the entire island nation of England. I think that's the fight to make. International Fight Week, America versus England.
The writing could be on the wall.
And there's a couple of other English fighters in there you could throw on with a couple other American boys.
They just want to throw. They want that fight in Manchester, though. They want Leon to defend that belt in England. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I get it.
That'd be the only counter.
But here I am with a brilliant plan. So what do you want to do?
I don't hate it.
I'd watch it. Shit, I might go to it.
Shit, I definitely might go to it.
I mean, the 10-8 might fuck around and find themselves at International Fight Week in Vegas.
Made worse decisions than that.
Could happen. I wouldn't rule it out. So what do you mentioned it earlier. Aljo tore his bicep. He's out in March. Done. Finite.
Yeah. Cejudo, O'Malley. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I hope Triple C absolutely ragdolls him.
Yeah, I'm team Sugar here.
I know. We got two very different perspectives here, but I think not only do I hope it, I think Cejudo could do it. I think Cejudo could absolutely ragdoll Sean O'Malley.
I don't disagree, but nothing would make me happier to see Sean O'Malley hit him with a knee right up the middle, similar to what he did to Jan, and just knock Cejudo's ass unconscious.
I don't know. I always liked watching Cejudo fight, but obviously wasn't a huge fan of the Cringe King, which was his point, right? Like that's why he did it. But then having met Triple C and him being such a legitimately nice guy outside the act, and then watching him absolutely chump Sean O'Malley during O'Malley's own interview. Like I've never seen a deer in the headlights look like that before, as when O'Malley was doing. I think he was cutting the promo with Megan O'Leary. I think he was cutting an interview and O'Malley or Cejudo went up there and interrupted it. I've never seen a lack of swag, a lack of ability to talk a little shit in my life. Sean just stood there like he'd seen a ghost. And at that point, I felt as though Cejudo had Sean holding his pocket. So I'm team Triple C all the way.
Right. Like I could totally see the pressure and the wrestling be a massive problem. But I mean, look at the length, right? O'Malley's a tall motherfucker at 135 pounds, man. He's the tallest guy at 135 pounds. The range distance. If Cejudo starts to play around with his food, I could see him getting caught. I mean, we've seen him get KO'd before by Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to question a guy's work ethic like that too. You know, with anybody else, I'd be like, oh, he's been sidelined for a while. Cejudo, it's not even something I would ever question because just his will, determination is second to none.
Yeah.
So I know he'll be ready. I don't know. I'm just a Sugar guy. I root for O'Malley. So I want him to get the job done there. And I just think he's a more fun fight too down the road for other people.
I think we're going to get our wish. I think that's the fight they're going to make. It sounds like both guys want it. Sounds like both guys want it. Aljo sidelined. So let's see it happen, you know? Title eliminator, I guess.
I'm about it. Then we got Sandhagen Vera too. That's in the back burner.
Yeah, let's just see it happen.
135 is spicy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a spicy year for bantamweight. I'm excited to see what happens. Speaking of spicy, you think this Mike Jackson, Jake Shields boxing match is going to happen?
I'd probably watch it. I don't think Jake Shields can box.
He's certainly not known for boxing.
I know Mike Jackson can't box.
Another guy not known for boxing.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, they got into a little bit of a scuffle. They go back and forth on Twitter, right? Just basically calling each other racists online, I think, is pretty much, in a nutshell.
Yep. Yeah, this was a weird one. And this is a weird one for a lot of ways. So Mike Jackson got cut from the UFC today, probably rightfully so for his fighting record. But before that happened, after what had to be like a year long or multiple year long Twitter feud between Mike Jackson and Jake Shields. Jake Shields pulled up to the gym that Mike Jackson was at. There's video of it, but the only video we see is Jake Shields on top of Mike Jackson. There's like 5 or 6 dudes standing around. It has not been made clear yet who those dudes were, if they're Mike Jackson's guys who were just letting him duke it out, or if they're Jake Shields guys and they kind of rolled Mike Jackson a little bit. That's been less than clear so far. I don't know. I don't know who the fuck they were.
It looked like a 10-8 round.
It looked like a 10-8 round, but Mike Jackson is pressing criminal charges. So
he was the anti-police guy, right?
Yeah, he was the anti-police.
He was the beef on the police guy, calling the police after he got tackled.
It might have been him. It might have been him, but you know,
adds up. It adds up.
Here's the problem with that fuck around and find out mentality. Everybody thinks it's fuck around, find out till somebody calls the popo. Now you got assault charges, you know, and it is what it is. And I mean, Jake Shields all but confessed to assault on Twitter. So yeah, fuck around, find out. But you know, you're gonna take that criminal L now. I mean, I don't know if it was worth it.
I hope they box.
Here's the thing, though, and this is what's bothering me about it a little bit from Mike Jackson's perspective. You got to pick one, man. You know, was this an attack worthy of police intervention, and you want to press criminal charges, or do you want to box this guy? But I don't think you can talk out of both sides of your mouth here. I don't think you can say you want a celebrity boxing match with Jake Shields on one hand, and on the other hand, you want to see him work his way through the criminal justice system. I don't think you can have it both ways. So pick one.
Both would kind of be spicy, though.
Both is it's spicy, bordering on too spicy. It's bordering on bizarrely stupid. You know, and look, there are people who work in these criminal justice systems, and I can't imagine any of them is going to take an assault charge seriously if you, as the victim of the assault, are like, oh yeah, but we're boxing later on this year. Dude, get the fuck out of my office. What do you mean you're boxing later this year? I thought this dude assaulted you. Fuck out my office.
Yeah, they're going to have to field some offers from Triller and see if this thing makes, you know,
maybe Golden Boy
sense.
Boxing makes its fucking comeback.
Imagine that's the headline fight. Jesus Christ.
God, it just truly, at that point, I hope they investigate Golden Boy Boxing for their nonsense. Well, I guess there's only one piece of news left we got to talk about this week.
Knew this was coming.
Shot heard around the world, New Year's Eve.
Slap heard around the world.
Well, that's a hell of a way to promote your Power Slap League, I guess. Dana White struck his wife on New Year's Eve at a nightclub. It looked like they were in a verbal altercation. Dana White's wife hit him. Dana White responded by slapping her across the face, and now all hell has broken loose.
One thing I will say is ESPN has been pretty laid back and lax about it. They're usually a little bit more outraged. It's wild. It's almost like Dana's worth quite a bit of money or something. It's weird how that works.
It is interesting. It is interesting how your morals change when money's on the line. It's just been, this is another one, right? There's nothing good to say about any of this.
No.
Nothing good to say about it. You know, I think the only person whose take has been at all in the right realm was Dustin Poirier's. Surprise, surprise. The diamond came out and as always had that champ mentality. You know, he said, you know, very shortly, very bluntly, never an excuse to put your hands on a woman, and I got nothing else to say about it. And he moved on with it. The guys who are defending Dana, I think are let me say that definitively, have taken the absolute wrong way to defend somebody in this position. I think if you wanted to defend Dana White as your friend, I think you defend him by saying what he did is wrong, and I hope that they learn from this and move forward. But you got to acknowledge that this shit was wrong. But Jamal Hill, Sean O'Malley, and a plethora of other guys whose checks say UFC on them have all taken the stance of, well, she hit him first. And I'm like, guys, that ain't it. That ain't it.
Follow the money, baby.
That can't be the take here. But it is. Yeah, follow that money, follow that gravy train. And it's been an absolutely bizarre peaks and valleys since then. Power Slap got pulled,
but it's back.
Dropped it. Now it's back. It's back.
It got pushed back a week. I don't think it got pulled. This is This is that Greta Thunberg pizza box bullshit. I don't know. I think we're getting a little bit of warped messages here. I think believe it or not, I don't know if Twitter is the most reliable source.
Where is left to get my news from, John Boy, if not the 10-8 round podcast? Who else can I trust in this world anymore? In this upside down, topsy-turvy, dog-eat-dog world, who can I trust but the 10-8 podcast?
Yeah,
Fucking nobody.
Anywhere where you're not flipping through commercials, I guess, right?
I fucking guess. But Jesus. Yeah, this has been an absolutely bizarre trilogy with a lot of people showing their ass. The California Athletic Commission Women's Caucus voted today to I don't totally know what the vote was. I know their vote was calling for Dana White to step down.
The
I don't know if
California Women's Caucus?
The California Athletic Commission Women's Caucus something. I don't have the title correct.
Okay.
Whatever it is, whatever that governing body or that group is within the California Athletic Commission, took a vote today and is calling for Dana White to be removed as the head of the UFC. I don't know if there's anything beyond that. I don't know if they have a or else in there, right? Or else we're not fighting in California, whatever the case may be. I don't know.
One thing I will say, ESPN has removed people for far, far less. But those people also don't happen to be Dana White.
Right.
So here we go again. It's a common theme. It's weird.
It is. It is a common theme. It's my practical takeaway is if you're Dan, dude, just step away. Step away voluntarily.
No shot he steps away.
There's no shot, but he should. Just say, hey, look, what I did was wrong. I'm working on it. My wife and I are working on it. I'm making no excuses for it, but I'm going to take the time to step back, be a family man. You got more money than God. The man actually made snow for his kids in Las Vegas on Christmas. You got more money than God. Let there be a new face of the UFC, because look at all of the bullshit that has happened from this fallout. 2 weeks of bullshit. There's a new headline every day, and you're only hurting the brand. You're only hurting the brand. Because now people who aren't MMA fans are only paying attention to MMA.
No publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah, I think this might be bad publicity. That's going to be my take. I think there are far-reaching consequences that I think Dana White and the UFC maybe haven't considered yet. But it's never a good thing when people who don't generally pay attention to your little corner of the world are suddenly aware of it. And people who aren't MMA fans are now aware of the UFC.
From a moral stanza, sure, but a bottom dollar, I don't know if I can get there.
I guess time will tell.
Absolutely.
Certainly not a good look to have him posted on Instagram about the Power Slap League. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, the timing could not be better or worse, however you look at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with worse. I'm gonna say definitively bad timing. As if Power Slap wasn't a dumb enough idea to begin with. Now the guy who's shilling for it on social media just slapped his wife in a nightclub. That ain't great. Look, I'm not a PR guy, but maybe I should be. That ain't great.
All I know is his comment section is blowing the fuck up.
Oh my God. And he put out a Fuck It Friday, one of those stupid videos of him eating in the kitchen.
Yeah. Slap it Sunday. Fuck it Friday.
Slap it Sundays are wild. Oh my God. That has got to be the most bullshit we've ever had to cut through in one episode.
A lot can happen in 2 weeks.
The fuckery just abounded for the holidays. The boys were not out here behaving themselves at all. I really want to get back to us talking about the fights and not fight adjacent things. Thank God UFC fights are coming back.
Yep, we got a good one on the horizon. We got Glover and Hill in Brazil, UFC 283, January 21st. That's one to keep in the back pocket and look forward to. Do a little bit of a little bit of research. Let's do our due diligence and covering that. And I think we'll be back with a nice pay-per-view card. Hopefully some good recap from this past card. And without further ado, I'll let you
guys. Fuckery abounds in the new year, and at times of stress and turmoil, I remember only one thing: Call your mother. Tell her you love her because we out.
Peace.